So the question of what is good art is one that certainly looms over a lot of the discussions we have here on this channel, right? Whenever we're discussing a topic, it always seems to kind of rear its head in one way or another, and the only thing to do is that's not a question we can answer today, and keep it moving. But I do think it's worth discussing, at the very least, this question, or perhaps more accurately, why we can't answer this question, right? And I want to make that very clear up front, right? I have no interest in deceiving you guys. This question's not going to be answered in this video. If this question could be answered in this video, it would have been answered like 100 years ago, and we'd be in a radically different world, right? This is a question that is, it's like the Euthyphro's dilemma of art, right? Like it's the question: what makes good art? And I'm not going to get any closer today. I actually think that if you are somebody that thinks you have a grasp on your answer to this question, then I would hope that maybe I get you farther away from feeling like you have an answer. To be transparent, I think when it comes to a question like this, we can make a lot of generally agreeable statements, right? Like you can go around saying things like good art is honest art, good art is vulnerable art, good art is interesting art. Like you can make a lot of these statements, right? And I think you'll get a lot of people going, yeah, I could see that. Specifically, I really do agree with the honest thing. I think that in one way or another, if you think about it long enough, all good art is honest art, right? Like I can agree with that. Even then, though, I would never pitch it as a definition. I don't think there's a definition of this, and that's the fun of art. That's why we're here discussing this every day, right? If we could come up with an objective answer of what was good art, we would have all been making masterpieces a long time ago, right? Like if we could get it down to an equation of this is how you make a masterpiece, we would all be doing it, right? Like simple as that. That's why this question will not be answered here today. However, I think more so what I want to discuss here is on a level of perception, what is good art, right? Because the other day I talked about bad art, right? I said make bad art. I made a video called that. And I do, as much as I do agree with everything in that video, I think there's sort of an interesting side discussion to be had about like, what does that really mean? Because, what I was referring to in that video was make unpolished art, right? Make art that is like more, just for fun in your sketchbook and don't think about it too much. And that's what I was referring to, right? Call that bad art's kind of interesting though, I think. Because if you go through any period in history, it really changes what good art and bad art means, right? There was a time and place where anything that wasn't literally a painting of Jesus was considered to be bad art, like on a very literal level, right? And I think the idea that I like in this whole discussion, more than anything perhaps, is that no matter what you're doing, it's an interesting thought experiment to me, right? This painting right here. Let's set some parameters for this thought experiment, right? If human history goes on forever, painting remains a medium forever. Right? Those are two parameters we're going to set, right? Because there's very easy ways to go like, well, painting's kind of on the decline. Maybe it won't be here in 10 years, right? Same thing with, whatever medium is your main thing. I also write, right? I have a Substack now. I forgot to shout that out yesterday. I was supposed to do that. We'll get to that later. I just lost my train of thought because of that. I also write, right? So it's also very easy for me to go, well, people aren't really buying books anymore. Probably that medium is going to be gone soon. Interesting, I picked two mediums that, can really do that. But the point is here, like, it's very easy to kind of play that game. That ruins this discussion, though, so we're not going to do that here today, right? We're going to make the assumption that all mediums of art go on forever. Whether maybe you're a mime, miming could come back big. So that's the big assumption we got to make for this thought experiment. I would like to present the idea that no matter what you make, if these two things happen, and, of course, there is a assumption to be made in these mediums of art going on forever that tastes will also change over time, right? Just as the idea of a good painting in the year 1500 is radically opposed to the idea of a good painting and the idea in the year 1800, I think that the idea of a good painting right now in 2025 is going to be very different than the idea of a good painting in 3065, If we set these parameters, any painting I'm making here, any doodle you draw a doodle right now. If you're drunk, I don't know if you're drunk, we watch this. If you're drunk, draw a little doodle. Anything you produce will be a masterpiece by some period standards and some period's tastes. This under the rules of this thought experiment, this has to be true. Taste is 100% subject to the times. It changes with every generation, and it can't be more different than the last. It often swings in diametrically opposed directions. And the point of this is not to be like, you know, there's a super cheesy angle to take here. And not that one that I'm interested in taking, right? Of like, you know, oh, all art is equally valid. And like, that's completely true, by the way. I'm not saying that's wrong. That's 100% true. Just not an angle I think is super fun to discuss, right? Like we already know that. I think the much more interesting conclusion, and what I believe to be the true conclusion based off this thought experiment, is that there is no such thing as a masterpiece. There is no such thing as an objectively good piece of art. There's no such thing as good art or bad art. There are tastes and there are periods, and within those periods, tastes change and they develop. And the only thing stopping what you just doodled on your sketchbook right now from being a masterpiece someday in the year, you know, 3065, when the tastes are that, due to, you know, whatever's going on then, is simply the practicality of your drawing making it to them, right? Every painting that's ever been made is a masterpiece by some period standard. Great example is Van Gogh. Van Gogh, I think, is the ultimate example of this to me. When Van Gogh made all his stuff, everyone was like, this is terrible. This sucks, right? Nowadays, we obviously know Van Gogh is considered to be a genius, right? I'm not the biggest fan of him myself. I got yelled at Starry Night. I went up too close to the painting in the MoMA and they yelled at me. So because of that, I've always held a chip on my shoulder. I do blame Van Gogh for that in a lot of ways, but, you know, that's besides the point, I suppose, right? He was considered to be a terrible painter when he first, in his times, and because his paintings took the luckiest path they could have, right, going from person to person over the years until they eventually found their way into the right person, the right collection, the right time, and now Van Gogh is considered to be one of the greatest painters of all time, simply because of that lucky string of events, right? This is not to say that, you are like not going to make it because you won't have that luck. It's to say that Van Gogh only made it because he had that luck. There are 100 different realities where it's some other guy that did it. And I'm going to 100% bet here that there are 100 other guys who were painting similar to Van Gogh. Like, just by the rule of how many people are painting at any given time, there kind of have to be at least 100 guys out there that were painting very similar things to him in some capacity, right? I say this all as encouragement. There is no good art, there's no bad art. As much as, you know, what we were talking about the other day of make bad art was the idea of make unpolished art, I still want to emphasize this idea that there is no good art, there's no bad art, there's no such thing. There is only the standards of the time, and who knows, if you stay true to your vision, maybe you're already making a masterpiece. I think the biggest thing here is maybe to bring it full circle from that statement I said at the beginning that good art is honest art. I think the only statement I could really make is stay true to your vision, stay honest, and you'll be making good art no matter what. So, this is the painting. I'm really liking the texture I'm able to get on these rocks. Like, I think this is cool. It just looks nothing like a rock to me. Do these look like rocks to you? There's 4 days of rock, or 5 days of rocks, including this one. Do these look like rocks to you? They don't look like rocks to me. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think, because I'm kind of torn on this. Oh, this is fine though, I don't really care. This is whatever. I'm like neutral on this painting. So go check it on the TikTok and the Instagram. Until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This has been Paint Talk episode 305. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.